One.
This is Linda. She has a remote team in 14 countries. Before, she would get bogged down with a ton of different apps and payment methods to manage her employees. Then, she found Remoteteam.com, an all-in-one platform where you can pay your remote employees and contractors and find all the apps you need to run a successful remote company.
Wow. So I guess it's true. The commercial does match the site build. We're gonna get to that in just a moment with Sahin Boydas, the CEO and founder of Remoteteam.com. Welcome back to Running Remote Online. We are really at this hour catering to a European audience, right? Like remote work is incredibly on the rise within Europe, and at this moment. A lot of our viewers are in Europe. So why don't you, everybody in the chat, tell us where you're watching from, say hello, good afternoon, everyone. If you're on the East Coast, good morning and welcome. Or if you're crazy enough to be on the West Coast, you are Sahin Boydas. He is in the Bay Area. He's joining us at 4 a.m. right now, the CEO of Remoteteam.com. Sahin, where'd you go? Are you going to join? There he is.
I am here. How are you? Good morning.
Wow. Okay. Let me good morning, by the way. Let me open things this way by saying not only is it 4 a.m. in San Francisco, but you're coming on right now at 4 a.m. in San Francisco to talk about global HR management and payroll management. I mean, that's, to do that at 4 a.m. that's pretty special.
Yeah, in California, I think this is very interesting. I was born in Boston. I moved back to Turkey, Istanbul, and then moved back to California. Like if we go out right now, you will see people in the streets, in the park. It's walking. Like you are from here, right? It's like
yeah.
The world is getting global. We should sleep right now, but this is like a remote conference. It's all over the world, and I think it's great that it's more in a centralized time zone than California. I'm really happy, actually.
Yeah. I mean, like just to start with, like really, really big picture, is that your vision for your company and what you want to deliver to any company? Is this environment where the company can be working 24 hours a day and it doesn't have to be some mega corporation, right? That you create an environment where you simplify the operations, you simplify the payroll, you simplify the HR, just so that you can have people around the world working together in a synchronized way. I feel like that's the mission, but you got to tell me.
Yeah, exactly. So we in Remotecom, our vision is really help companies to build successful remote teams, because I had a remote team nearly for 20 years. I've been through all the difficulties like paying, managing, adding people to apps, hiring, terminating, the local hiring, like contractors, like all the stuff. And it's not easy. It's not easy for small companies to big companies. There's always a lot of issues, a lot of problems, a lot of inefficiencies, and we actually try to do that. And I think when we start to think asynchronously, and I think in the new normal, in the world that we are living right now, we don't need to work synchronous. We don't need to work 8 hours anymore. Like we don't need to sit down on eight hours. So some people work in the morning, then you get the rest, you work at night. So when you have a remote team, this is really cool. My design team is in Istanbul.
I love the design of the site, by the way. I love it.
Thank you.
It's just cool.
Thank you. And we have team members in Africa. We have team members in Europe. So I wake up and there's a new thing that we did that we can share. So if teams can use the time difference in an advantage way, it's unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. And we see great examples like GitLab and other companies, right?
Sorry, go ahead. I got excited about a question.
No, go for the question.
Do you think that people should be working 8 hours. Is your
No,
goal?
no,
No. What do
no.
you think? What do you think the ideal amount
But
is?
that
Well,
that
you and I both work like 12 hours a day, but that's because
is
it's what we
crazy.
want to do.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's what we love doing, right?
But that 8 hour is a concept, is a construct
Yeah.
that was given to us, given to the humanity in the industrial age. They said there's 24 hours, and then it's a guy from Albert Pike actually who come up with the ideas, and his grandson did it. So he says 8 hour sleep, 8 hour family, and 8 hour work. Right? Who come up with this?
Eight
And in
hours
the old
sleep, 8 hours
8 hour,
family, 8 hours
yeah,
work. Boy, my
it's a
parents are
20.
gonna love you when they hear that I'm supposed to spend 8 hours with them all day.
Yeah.
When
So
I'm
they
back in
this is
California. Yeah.
it's it's like family, friends, everything, right? So
Okay, got it.
and then in the industrial age, they sort of had to do it, and then we just get used to it. But humanity, like people 100 years ago, there's so many studies, we never sleep 8 hours. Like
Yeah.
we were polypsychics, like we wake up at night, then hang out a little bit, sleep more, sleep in the daytime, like in Spain, in like you see it there.
I sleep in the daytime. I'll admit it. Like I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie. I sleep in the daytime.
So right now, I think the cool thing that happening with remote team people are, or right now the current world, one great thing actually, I think people are working asynchronously. People are not working 8 hours for like not like one bulk 8 hours. We see that people are not working in the weekday. They also work on the weekends a little bit. So it's getting more balance. Like
Right.
I think that will be great for all of us, the all humanity. And remote teams, like my team is always like that. We never had 8 hour bulk work time. It's mostly asynchronous, and uh, my guys, some of them work in the morning, like 4 or 5 hours, hang around, do their life, do their go out, and then work again at nighttime. It's such a new world that
Yeah.
we are living.
And I guess that's. And by the way, I know you have like we're gonna have ask questions. We have plenty of questions coming in. Everyone, whether you're on the app, whether you're on desktop, please make sure to drop some questions in for Sahin. We'll be asking them shortly here. But you and I get chatting and we just get rolling. So I feel like I got a little bit ahead of myself here, but I'm gonna keep going. Like, is that part of your mission? Is it just like what you think as a manager, or are you really trying to, like, in the end, change the way that people and companies are working outside of just how they pay people and how they file HR paperwork and such?
Yeah, exactly. I my my mission in my heart, I don't want anyone to go into traffic and waste 2 hours. Like that is like that world needs to end.
Or you don't
Yeah,
want it for anyone else is the thing as well,
yeah,
right?
yeah. No one
Yeah.
should do that. Like it's a waste of our human potential. Period. Like, and working, the way I look at it is, it might be sound really harsh. Like when in our society, when we punish people, what do? We send them in prison. We tell them you're gonna stay there for a limited time, right? That's office definition in my head. You have to go to office, stay there for a limited time. It's a punishment for the mind, I think. So now with the remote world, when people work from anywhere they want, I think the whole mindset is changing. Like we start to do more collaboration, and our job is not just the payments. Payments is, it's sort of a killer function, killer app, but the whole idea is we build it as a platform. So let's give you the apps that you need to run a successful remote company. You're going to discover apps, you find apps. Like we are actually building sort of more like a app store for remote teams, and payroll payment is just one piece of it.
Wow, I was muted. That's rare. So when you talk about the app store for remote teams, I mean, why don't we get into this and talk a little bit about remoteteam.com? I mean, I think we're just going to have more of like a general conversation, and then we'll get into some of the audience questions coming up here. We're here with Sahin Boydas. He, of course, is the CEO of remoteteam.com. As a company and as an individual, a great partner and friend of us here at Running Remote. So Sahin, I'll be honest, right? I have global HR management is really confusing. Right?
Exactly.
At my current company, we have employees and contractors about 10 states, 8 countries, 4 continents.
Yeah.
And it's pretty intense. So I'd like you to tell us, about the use cases for a company like mine, but more so, why not just do this myself? Why should we be working with a company like yours?
Yeah.
Now, come to
So
think of it, I think we might have
yeah,
to for too long.
it's very simple, man. Like it's really simple. Like if you are having 10, 20 people globally, and we have companies with 40 people, 30 people, 50 people. I think after 5, like if you have 5 people, you can sort of try to do that by yourself. But after 10, it's nearly like it's just gonna take so much time, which is like even wire transfer the money, right? Or
Right. And like, how much of
um,
your time are you putting in to do that, basically,
yeah,
right?
exactly. So in our system, we automatize that, and then
Yep.
you wire transfer, let's say $1,000, and the person, your team member, gonna receive that money. Who knows how much banks will take it, right? So we build a platform in that payment sense that we have multiple payment partners that we use it in the background, in the backend, and find the cheapest way to send the money. Let's say you have a team in Russia, you have a team in Africa, you have a team in Ukraine. We seriously work so hard and not put no fee. Sometimes we don't put fee, and like we really want people to companies able to send money like very easily. But when it comes to hiring, there's 3 ways you can hire someone, right? And our platform gives you that flexibility, which means
What
you
are
can
the 3
hire
ways you
some.
can hire someone? Yeah, okay,
Yes.
you're gonna do
So
your example.
that is independent contractors.
Right.
Like you get someone as independent. This is like corporate America does it. The whole world does it for many, many, many years, right? There's
And this is what's mostly happening with
exactly.
global
Yes.
hires.
Global hires, yeah. But
Yeah.
if you do independent contractors, there's an IP issue. There's like a compliance issue a little bit. There's some issues, but as a start, a lot of people go to that route, right? The second route is you can. This is a little bit more crazy, but it's an option. You can open an office in that local country, right? Like you can
Yep.
open an
Yep.
office in England. In some jurisdictions, if you open an office in London, you can hire people in Europe, blah, blah, blah.
Right. And
Or
basically you just send chunks of money to that company, and that
exactly.
company
And that
then,
company
right.
runs the payroll, do the taxes,
Right.
do the all taxes. And it's a little bit, it's more compliant for sure.
Right.
But even having a company in one country is not easy, like having a
No.
multiple.
And
No, it's
I
not.
have done that before as well in the Philippines, and it's super challenging and it's super
It's super
expensive.
challenging. And then the other option is it's like a proxy companies, like they call it PEO. In Europe, they call it employer of or
Yep.
employer. So we have a huge PEO network as well. And PEO is
Okay.
just acts like a local company that hires the person for you and then do all the payments and payrolls. So we give the choice in remote team because we are a platform. We can add things pretty easily in our platform. We have the PO and we have the independent contractor system, and we also help companies. We have local legal partners that if you want to build your own company, you can have that. So
But are you a PEO? Like, do you function? And a PEO is a professional employer organization. Like,
professional employer organization,
if you're
yeah,
just a U.S. company, for example, and you're hiring outside of your state, you need a PEO. Like, that's just like a tiny, minuscule example to
exactly.
what you guys have created, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So you are a PEO, or you just partner with PEOs?
No, we in some countries we have our own PEO, and in some countries there's some in India there's like a company that we partner with and doing it, but we made it seamless because in some local areas, like they are doing their job so well that we don't need to go and like spend money to build a PEO there. Like there's some great companies doing that for years actually.
Yep.
So this is
Hey,
the three ways.
one note. Is there I'm hearing like a little background. Do you have like a clock going or something? Sounds like
No,
something's.
it's microphone is hitting somewhere. I fixed it.
Yeah,
I fixed
yeah.
it. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah,
he's back.
yeah,
He's
yeah, yeah,
back.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
we're not going to let that get us off track. Sahin, before we jump into audience questions, is there anything that you wanted to um, is there anything that you wanted to throw out first before we start looking into what the audience has asked us?
Actually, we just covered the most of the things. Yeah, thank you very much. Like this is our, like, we can go into complicated details, but for us, I'm a founder. This is my fourth company in Silicon Valley. I like to keep things very simple, and we just help people to have build successful remote team. Actually, it's very simple, and whatever you need, we have the flexibility to help the companies, and
Yeah.
we're trying to help you and give the answers that they need, and also be in your side a little bit. When it comes to compliance, when it comes to insurance, there's no end, right? You can spend tens of thousands of dollars and still can't be compliant. So we're trying to give the best
Right.
option for your buck. It's very simple. Like,
Totally.
yeah, so if you are a small company, we give good advice for that. If you are becoming like a 50 people company doing $1 million ARR, doing $10 million ARR, or raise like thousands of dollars, millions of dollars, then it's a different advice, right? And we do that a lot. We do great support, great help, because I love companies. I love to hear their stories. We love to hear them. We love to partner with them. It's just so fun. It's just so fun. Yeah.
You are a true entrepreneur, to say the least.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do, before we get into the questions, I just want to throw around like how exciting I think this is for us. We have really an audience from around the world, from people checking in from Ukraine, Estonia,
Everywhere.
Galicia, Gloucester in the
Everywhere.
UK, Liechtenstein. I think this is our first
Lick this,
Liechtenstein. Yeah.
and
Sit-
they have the stamps. They own the stamps in the world. You know that, right?
Wait,
All
what?
the stamps, that you put on letters,
Yeah.
they have a loyalty fee to Liechtenstein.
No, no.
Yeah,
We're gonna have to. I'm gonna need to learn
Google
more
check
about
it.
this.
Google check it. It's
Melbourne,
really crazy.
Melbourne, Hong Kong, India, Istanbul. We've got somebody local. Well,
Yeah.
comparatively local to you. So let's jump into these questions. So Alexander says, can you explain? We're gonna jump into a non-product question because we just talked about product. Can you explain how do you manage the team with different time zones? And he also notes that it's important for one of them to sleep very well.
Of
Like
course.
how do you manage different time zones, and how do you manage great sleepers?
Yeah, so this is very funny. I motivate our team to do lucid dreaming, go deeper state faster. No, it's a joke.
Right,
But lucid,
right. You coach them like sleep 5 hours and sleep deeply, and that's it.
no, lucid dreaming is the biggest hack. I am a bit advocate of lucid dreaming, but what we
Really?
do,
I'm
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
need to take
lucid
notes on this.
lucid dreaming is magic. It's just
Okay.
one of the biggest, best biohack that someone can do, and I
Oh my
think it's
gosh.
getting more popular.
I'm going to be
Um,
Googling this. I'm putting it on my notepad. Anyway,
lucid
continue.
dreaming, lucid dreaming.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
so the way I did it, the way I do it, um, so we have team in Africa, Europe, and in South America, and then our support team is in Philippines, right?
And those
So
are teams, right? Like those are clusters of the company. Those
yeah,
are
we
not
are
in, right.
yeah, we are close to 40 people. We
Okay.
are pretty big. So the way I do it is this is very, there's a huge article around this. Wherever the founder is living, that's the company's time zone is that. But I try not to do that.
Right.
So we have clusters of team, and we just tell them, like, if we can do a sync or async meeting every day, depending on the team. Like, design is very important for me. I have a design call, product call every day, right? And that calls happens around 9 to 10 my time. So
Okay, so
based on the
9 to
time
10
zone,
Pacific, is that
Pacific,
like one synchronized touch point, basically, is
one
what you're saying?
synchronized time. Like I always have one synchronized touch point. I'm not a great writer. Like I am not a great typist. So I like to
Okay.
communicate standing
Well, you're a great
visually.
communicator, so it makes up for it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I like that, and my team likes that. So we are trying to put one synchronous um, call every day with the different teams, and the teams inside of their local zones do similar thing.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm with you now. I understand at this point. And that's really it. Like, what about handovers? What about, I mean, because you want that vision of that like 24-hour company. Like, how are tasks handed off into different type? Like, is there
We
more
don't.
in terms of your asynchronization process, or not as
No,
much?
we look at, this is very interesting. I hate to give this example. I live in Cupertino,
Hey,
so
watch your mic, by the way. Watch that mic a
yeah,
little bit. I think we're no, I think we're hearing it click a little bit.
yeah.
The
Right.
mic you have. Okay. Yeah.
So I live in Cupertino, and the way that I watch a video about Apple, it was interesting. So we give responsibilities to people. Like we don't have someone we don't have 3 4 people working in the same project. So we have
Okay.
everyone is doing one task, and there's no handover in the tasks. So if we have a project like app platform, we give some part to some people and some part to some people. Like that handoff is complicated for a small team like us, because you need to
For
have
sure.
a lot of like text, a lot of description, a lot of explanation. It's not easy. So we try to give one task to one person, and we trust that they will come up with their part, and most of the time they come up with their part. But it's mostly a trust-based relationship.
Yeah, and that's like one of the secrets behind remote work is not one of the secrets. For me, it's like the most relevant byproduct in an individualized social
Exactly.
sense of remote work, right?
Exactly.
Which is
Exactly.
trust in the
Trust.
workplace.
Yeah, you have to
Um,
trust people. You have to find great people with your who will adapt and like your culture. Like is more important. Like your culture, and you have to trust people because you don't see them, right? You have to trust them. You have to have great individuals, and they have to also had some experience or willing to try remote work as well, because working from home is not that easy. It's like you have kids running around, your home design is not like that. But I believe in the future we will have homes saying that 2 bedrooms, 1 office, or like 3 bedrooms, 2 offices. And I think they're gonna
I
have that very soon. In the next or 2 years, we will say, okay, or we convert your garage and paint your garage into green, so you have a green screen by default. So
right,
we're gonna see
right.
that, or phone booths in living room or something. I think we're gonna have that, but not in the near future. I think I started to see some homes in Texas, because they have a huge land, huge homes.
Of
They are
course.
saying like 2 offices, 4 bedrooms, right?
Oh my gosh. Wow. I mean, I've never heard it characterized that way. I also think it was really, and I want to get to everybody else's questions, but one thing that you and I can maybe offline about as well is ensuring that projects are owned by an individual person. That's really an interesting approach in terms of asynchronization that I mean, I think companies the size of the companies that you and I manage, by default, that's what we do, right? I
Yeah,
mean, by
exactly. Yeah,
default, I mean,
yeah.
if there's not one owner, there's no owner, right? If there's multiple owners, there's no owner, is sort of the adage. Here's a question from Emily Coolin. Emily has a couple really good questions. Make sure you're using the Swap Card app as well. In fact, I'm going to reach out to Emily and connect on LinkedIn. I think she's got a couple great questions. Do you find that payroll and other HR service companies are changing towards this new and better way of employing people? Like, are they just I guess to paraphrase, I think are they just providing services, or are they really driving forward, the future of hiring?
Yeah, I will. I will give a political correct answers. If they were doing their job so well, we will not be here. But
Right.
like, I believe, and because we wake up in a world that it's not an option to work remote. It's become a must. And
Yeah, it's essential.
and I think what happens, I think what will happen is pretty cool. Like, because everyone is now sort of have to work remote, like a company in America will say, okay, why I'm not hiring someone in Spain? Why I'm not hiring someone around the world, right? Like, okay, here this community is like so advanced and years ahead of the standard world. But if you drive 50 miles from Silicon Valley, like 99% of the people are not remote yet, right?
Right.
So, and if you look at that 99%, it needs for them or for the world, like companies like us will make everything easier, like hiring, finding, managing, operating, like having new cool apps, like everything needs to be easier. Because there's some example that I saw, it was really daring to my heart. Like, we had a problem in ventilators, right? Like the ventilators
Yeah,
for like
of course,
breathing, right?
related to
So, and
hospitalizations
then
for COVID. Yes. Yeah.
exactly. So what happened is there was 5, 6 companies owning all the ventilator patents. It's like crazy. And
Yep. Yep.
3, 4 engineers come together for free, build an open source ventilator system all over the world. They were just all over the world. But
Wow.
this will never exist 5 years ago. It wasn't
No,
possible.
the
But now
collaboration just wasn't there, and the mindset
collaboration,
wasn't there.
yes,
Right.
mindset wasn't there, collaboration tools wasn't there. So now we're gonna see hundreds of these things. People will come together and build great things together, free or for a company. Even though I believe the company structures will change. So companies like us, and there will be many as well, like build greater systems to help people to go and work remotely, actually. Yeah, let's get more
Um,
questions. Yeah.
Yeah, on the AMA side, this is a great one from Simon Christensen. What will entrepreneurs miss most from not going to Silicon Valley to start a company? It gives me like goosebumps, you know?
Yeah, me
What a
too. Like I had
question.
a deal.
Like, oh,
I have a
Silicon
deal.
Valley is not going to be the center of tech entrepreneurship, you know? And it's true, right? The
It's
center of
true.
tech entrepreneurship is going to be where you want to be. So, yeah, what are your thoughts?
So this is very interesting. I this is my fourth company. I sold my first company to Snapchat, and I raised from 100 investors, 100 plus investors. And in remoteteam.com, I didn't meet single investor, like zero. It's all over the zone. It's so weird to me. Still, like
Right,
someone, you meet with someone and they give you money after. It's still,
right.
I still need to adapt the
So you think
concept.
investors are more keen to invest in
Exactly,
founders they meet
exactly. I think
virtually?
I think this is the new normal. This is the new
Right.
world, and I think the cool thing happened. This is my take. The reason that I think the why the world is going global and remote is not because of COVID or something else. I really think it's because of two main things. The one is self-taught. Like we now, this is a very weird idea. Uh, all the companies, most of the companies who become unicorn, meaning billion-dollar
Yeah.
company, is built by people who had no experience before, right? And now we are,
Really?
yes, it's unbelievable. Like Uber founder, was he a
Yeah,
taxi
yeah,
driver?
yeah,
No,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like, or
Exactly.
in, like it's not, right? So
Wow.
you can go over. It's like more than 50%. So
Okay.
when you say this, like when you hire someone in your company, like do they learn anything from the college that they need to do? Not really. So now we are entering a world which is self-taught engineering, self-taught sales, self-taught operation. So people
Yep.
are just learning by themselves, and that you can learn it in Silicon Valley, you can be in Spain, you can be in France, but you can still work in a great tech company and learning by yourself. And I think that is happening in the world. That's why the talent is not in Silicon Valley anymore. And if the talent is not in Silicon Valley anymore, investors always follow the talent. And I believe Silicon Valley will not be the only hub. It will be more like a symbol
Yeah.
in the next 5 to 10 years, I believe.
And it will have staying power as a symbol. I'm going to go through some product questions here because there are a lot of people actually with product questions. So just with about 11 minutes left, just try to fire off these answers as quickly as possible. Here's one. Can you provide any tips for paying people at different periods? Some are weekly, others monthly. How should remote businesses best manage the cash flow demands of this? It's
Exactly.
interesting.
So this is our job. Like we do this really
Right.
well.
Right.
Yeah. This is a question. Like, uh, so what we see, we have a lot of companies doing monthly. We have a lot of companies bi-weekly. In
Right.
US, it's mostly bi-weekly
Yeah.
because um, it's easier. Um, we see a lot of companies doing every month, every week, uh, and 15th some companies, and we support all of it. Like in our
Right.
companies can have multiple payroll structures. uh, it's actually based on communication between you and the person. And if the person, some people like to get their money um, before the first day of the
Right.
month, which we
Right.
try to do that. And in most of the cases in remote companies, you wire transfer the money and you have no idea when it's going, right? We want to change that. Like in US, people get their monies, their salaries, their paychecks on Friday. You know that for sure. It
Right.
doesn't go one day or it
Right.
doesn't go. But in remote, it's so random, right? We want to change that a little bit and make it instant, make it in that day. And some people like hourly. There's a lot of companies having hourly employees. There's a lot of people with part-time employees. But what I see in hourly and part-time, they do weekly or bi-weekly, and we support all of it. And if you are, I also see, we also see this. If you have people in South America, they are more in 15th. Like they do their payroll in every 15th, not in the first day. So we
Really
have,
interesting.
yeah, we see the whole thing now. It's very cool. And it, so our system supports it. Like we, in the beginning we didn't have it, and we had so much feedback, just do it, and we end up adding all these features.
Sahin, we're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to get you again on Mike's TV background here. The mic is like hitting something. What's going on with the mic?
I
Yeah.
am moving the mic. The mic
All
is
right.
this, like I'm moving
Yeah,
it,
it's
man.
like it's
Yeah,
living. It's like its own living thing. Brian,
yeah,
that was a
yeah, yeah.
great question, by the way, Alex. Thank you so much. Brian Jones says, does your payroll software cater to businesses registered in the Philippines that employ staff rather than have them as contractors, so that we need annual leave and sick leave tracking, SSS, Philippines health payments, et cetera? I mean, that's like the core of what you guys do, right? Is you
Yeah,
manage that
exactly.
compliance, you employ them as full. Yeah, tell us.
So yeah, but right now for Philippines, we have a PEO. But if you want to have your, if the whole team is just 100% Philippines, there might be a different company in Philippines doing just payroll for Philippines.
It would
Like
be a
we are
better
not.
fit. Yeah, yeah.
It will be a better fit.
Yeah.
In future, we are going that route. In future, we are adding the features in our platform to support 100% local companies. It's, we are really close to figuring out how to do that. And but when you are, we are more towards, we can collect money right now in 8 countries, so you don't need to be a just US based company. But Philippines is, we have to work harder to get Philippines. But there's a lot of people use our system to just track time off, to track their gross pay or net pay. You can do that. But when it comes to like really paying people through bank accounts, we don't support Philippines yet, but we will.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Here's a question from Hubertus. Is remote team only for US-based mother companies, or does it work tax-wise for foreign companies as well? Example, given our company is based in Spain. Hola, Hubertus, ¿qué tal? Does it function for only US-based companies as the mother company?
Right now it's sort of like that, but we have
Okay.
companies now all around the world. Like as I said,
Okay.
we can collect money. So we have companies in Australia. We have a European company can use us because now there is a SEPA, like wire transfer money is easier, and we use TransferWise APIs for European companies as well. So we can do like non-US companies as well.
Here's a great one. This is a total AMA question. Wait, where did it go?
You,
Did somebody upload it? I'm trying to check here. No, where did that question? It was an amazing question. What remote company would you work for would you want to work with if you weren't working on remoteteam.com? If you didn't have your own business, what's like your dream remote company?
Was it? Yeah. I
No,
think
do you
I
understand
will.
my question? The question
Yeah,
is
yeah,
like,
yeah,
if you could
yeah.
work for Zapier, like what would that company be? Like what company do you like to model your business after the most?
That's a great question.
Isn't that a great one?
It's such a great question. Yeah, there's I like GitLab. I like every remote company because they are doing something that, like, I had this, like, I'm not joking, like, I was talking with people 8 years ago about remote work, remote team. Like, people were telling me that don't have a remote team, like remote team doesn't work. Like, some guy told me, and this is like very well known person, remote work doesn't work. This was his sentence. Okay, it's like
Yeah.
poetic, right? And now there is like WordPress, Basecamp, right? GitLab, InVision, Zapier. These guys did something that
They're
nobody did
pioneers.
before.
They're
They are the
pioneers.
pioneers, right? And
Yeah.
it worked out. When it worked out, Silicon Valley is a copying machine. It's just a photocopy. It's just a playbook driven system. If there's a success, let's scale the success. Now you go to any VC and they said, oh my God, we are telling our companies to go remote day one, right? It's
Right.
totally changed,
Right.
right? And
Right.
now M&A will change. Like, now we're seeing companies with IPO. Cloudflare is a company I really, really like from the engineering perspective. I'm obsessed with Cloudflare. So we see great American IPO'd companies that have a huge workforce remote, which didn't exist 10 years ago,
No.
right? It's
No.
unbelievable. And I think we are gonna go to in a world that, like, every company is like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, there's sort of been this thought about what's going to be the first, public remote company. And I think we're going to see a lot of them all at once. Hey, here's a really important topic. So you and I first met each other because at the last Running Remote event, you led a phenomenal panel on
Yeah,
diversity and
thank you.
inclusion. I mean,
Thank
that
you.
was
Thank you.
incredible. And Emily, again, Emily Coolin chiming in here. I don't know if Emily was at the last event, but you should go back in our archives, in the Running Remote archives on our YouTube channel and check out that panel. She says, I'm hoping that diversity and inclusion become more of a reason for remote teams than just pandemics.
Oh
I
my God,
mean,
this is
we've just got a couple minutes left, but talk to us about how important this is to
so
you.
this is so important, and we are launching something in our platform called Diversity App, and um, I believe it's very simple, man. This is very simple. Like, if
Right.
you have if you have more diverse team, you will be more successful. It's proven, right? And if
Wow, that's a
uh,
huge statement.
it's like that. It's like, and if your customers everyone, you have to have everyone in your company. And
Right.
I believe we are entering a world that the companies or the organization includes the most different diverse people will be successful. We are not living in a democracy anymore. Democracy didn't work. We have to put it in the garbage. So the people with the, even it's 0.1% of the people, that now they have a voice. And we really believe remote will change that diversity and inclusion dynamics, and adding, like, a lot, like, you will able to hire from anywhere. And when everyone can even have an avatar in the future, who cares, right? How you look, where you come from, what you do. And I believe remote will be one of the best thing happen for diversity and inclusion,
I
like, best thing.
agree. I agree. It really is just going to transform the way that companies think and the way that people are hired.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly, exactly.
it's just going to be phenomenal. So you are giving companies a tool with this diversity app to
So yeah,
understand like how,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I saw a picture in
We have
Fortune
less than a
magazine.
minute, by the way. I just want to let you know.
Ah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I will try to be. I saw a magazine cover in Fortune magazine, in Fortune, and they were showing the company CEOs in Fortune 500, right? And there was only four people of color there. And then I said,
Oh,
"Wow,
the
it's so."
500. of
Four.
500.
And
That's
they have this
4.
small picture, 4. And as,
Horrible.
oh my God, when you see how behind VR, it's unbelievable. So we try to do that first in remoteteam.com. We're going to show how companies are not diverse. When people see that, oh my God, I have to do a lot of things. And we're gonna do that. So we are launching a feature with 1.5 million companies in our database, trying to get as much as data possible in a private way, and show the world that what is our diversity score. And it's not
super. We're
we
looking
have to
forward to
work a
that.
lot.
Hey, I know everyone's enjoyed this chat with Sahin. You're not going anywhere. You're coming back.
No, I am here all day.
You're coming back for the People Ops conversation coming up next. This is a super fascinating panel. We will see you guys for that. In the meantime, go and check out exhibitors. Make sure you network. And coming up next is a really interesting panel on people.